Hi, everyone. This is In the Ditch with Bobby Samples. Today's guest is Jef Leeson. You know him as our narrator for Spoof Noir.
I
Hi. Well, like one of the things though that kind of got me, like I was telling you before we started recording, was I actually, listened to your work. I can't remember the first song I listened to, but it was actually pretty cool. It had you were sitting at the table and watching videos of people singing your song, which was actually pretty awesome.
yeah
And then there was
yeah that's one of the few attempts I've made at making music videos. I think I've only made three or four, and that's the only one I dare to ask anybody to look at anymore.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't really sweat it. You actually got some skills there. Your music, especially, kind of sounds like it's very. I like it because it has this nostalgia value for me. It reminds me of stuff I listened to back when I was a kid. Foo Fighters, Third Eye Blind, stuff like that.
Hmm.
And so I mean, like in a way, your music, it takes me down, takes me down memory lane. So back then, especially when it's upbeat, like "Make Time." That right there is actually a pretty good song. In fact, we will be using that to play us out this evening.
I'd rather play the recording than have to sing it for you live.
um, I wouldn't really worry about too much about that. I mean, unless you'd want to, but I mean, if you'd rather just play the recording, I mean, I ain't gonna hold a gun to
Ah, yeah, you've already been too patient with me. I don't want to push it any further.
your head. I wouldn't. I'm actually a patient person, but so last night, I asked around on Facebook and Twitter if anybody had any questions, and one of our questions actually comes in from. Give me 1 second to load it up. Uh, it comes from a Nate Bodine, and he wanted to know, and I kind of figure it's better for the you guys to answer than myself, but so he wanted to know exactly like how exactly do you do the voice acting, and I just basically figured I just tell him the truth, and that is I put a black bag over your guys' head and lock you in a basement until we get something.
um, yeah, I suppose if we're to take that as a literal, what is the process? How do you go about voice acting? Um, Having empathy for a character and imagining it is crucial and maybe not that obvious for anybody. Well, for some people, sorry. So if you can picture basically literally putting yourself in the shoes of a character and trying to figure out what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and then be in the moment and try your best to act and react as that character, or at least how you think that character would. And then, yeah, you do your best to understand the premise, the plot line, the storyline, and climax, any lulls in the story, and then you just try to record line for line or paragraph for paragraph the best that you think fits. You hand them over to the producer, and it's like throwing it's like throwing spaghetti on the wall. If something sticks, the producer will tell you, and then you're a lucky person to be part of the project.
And if they, uh, and then once I get it, I'm technically the producer, the director, and all around idiot in charge here. Um, when I get it, I literally get to listen to the same lines
Over
um,
and over.
over and over and over again until I could find the right one. And you'd be amazed. All of you did pretty phenomenal this time around. I mean, you actually nailed the adoration, the fanboyness of the narrator to John, the public, the character, and Spoof.
I'm glad we had a chance, you and I, to flush that out as far as not just the tone and of the voice and the speed of it and the cadence, how much to go up in pitch, how much to go down in pitch, yeah, all that stuff. And I'm glad we worked that out, because when it comes to good feedback, whether it's live direction during the tracking session for voices, or whether it's just a good talk about the character and everything else I just mentioned. Keeping all that in mind can be a challenge for most voice actors when they either are being they're either distracted by real life, like I mentioned, we got hit with 5 inches of snow today, um, and or only having a general understanding of the project's premise and storyline. So understanding understanding the physical and the mental
Yeah.
characteristics of the role, and then getting a good grasp on, as I said, tone, whether someone speaks nice and softly or really gruffly, um, and so many other specific issues. It just, all you have to do is make notes of it somehow,
Yeah.
and then try to keep them at best in mind.
And grammar. If you don't, I can honestly say this from a writer's perspective. Do not, if you don't want your actors saying it, don't put it down there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I heard I read about a week or so ago a really curious posting, I think on Twitter, of a voice actor saying one thing that really helped him develop further was taking a writing class, not a voice actor's class. And then one of the exercises that the instructor told the class to do was for at least half an hour, go sit out in public somewhere at a cafe or somewhere where it would be easy to, and this is kind of creepy, easy to overhear other people's conversations. And either take notes and or outright record their conversation on your cell phone, not for the purposes of the obvious, and that is a will to get arrested or something, but to sit down and study how people talk.
So are you telling me that our?
And
So are you trying to tell me that the NSA is not spying on us? They're just trying to figure out how we talk.
I
I'm
yeah,
kidding. I'm kidding.
I have my own conspiracy theories, but I'll keep them to myself. And so the conclusion of the exercise was to write down word for word and sound for sound, any grunts or hums or every sound that the dialogue that they captured on their phones or whatever, so that they could get a really good grasp of how people actually talk, actually speak, actually discuss and communicate. And so he was able to turn that into a way to influence his voice acting. Confidence, he would propose to open-minded collaborators of projects, the writers and producers and what have you, such as yourself, to polish up here and there little phrases, or when he ad-libbed, he might ad-lib with something a bit more natural sounding, and therefore donate more reality, or at least more product, more to offer the producers to choose from, and thereby hopefully improving the whole project.
That's
So he was so
actually.
brave to admit. I cut you off.
Oh no, I've actually heard. You're. I've actually heard about that method. My actually when I was in college, my writing teacher, she pretty much told us to do the same thing. But one of the things I've actually learned is to drop an accent. Um, my drama teacher always said, would always drum into us, because we came in a line a little too hard because we're all in the South, so we kind of talk like this. And so if we ended up going in there like that, automatically we would get rejected. And she actually had that fear in us, and so it took me a while, and I listened to a lot of Seth MacFarlane. Not him doing the Family Guy voices or anything like that, but just his general talking, his general vernacular,
Hmm?
and that actually has helped me out,
Takes
especially when it comes to
it takes
confidence.
it takes almost as much a big set of ears as will to let your guard down, to make the sounds, to be a voice actor, to really listen all around, actually. Listen to direction, listen to other actors if you get a chance to, work and react with them.
Hmm.
So the skill to listen is really important for voice actors, that's for sure. And what you just brought up as well, being a fine example of, if you don't listen to your instructor, not only might you get kicked out of the course, but yeah, if you can't hear it, you're not likely going to be able to replicate it,
No.
and or avoid bad habits too. Come to think of it.
Yeah. Hmm. I could write a book on bad habits. One of the like I don't know, it's just one of the weirdest parts of writing all of this, really, because you're talking, going into depth and all that stuff, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, is I just think of the funniest things I could possibly throw into a scenario
Mm.
and go from there. And it was a little rough with the first episode. I'm not even gonna lie on that one. I'm still working out the kinks to it, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to actually. I've actually discovered though that I need to do a lot more research on things. That's why I've been taking so much time with episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah, Rome was never built in a day.
Oh no, I'm. Do you remember the lock room mysteries? That's pretty much, murder takes place in a room. It's locked and there's no way in, no way out. How did it happen? That's kind of one of the things I've been studying, and in order to actually make that, if this was a visual medium, I could translate it over no problem. But the hard part is though is laying out the appropriate kind of clues and stuff like that in the sound.
Hmm.
You can't just sit there and go, "Hey, dummy, the butler did it."
That's a challenge on its own. Not just writing so well that you help people imagine pictures in their head immediately and clearly.
Exactly. It's
In this modern day and age, having so many different varieties, sub varieties of audio entertainment, audio only entertainment for the most part,
yeah.
transferring everything on the page to something audio, some audio project that will get everything across. Certainly the script has to be there the most, because if it's relatively average, flat kind of descriptions and activity, no amount of authentic sounding voiceover or sound effects or background music is going to bring an average script to life.
That's one of my biggest fears. Or, and actually, it's kind of funny because that's one of my biggest things is either you, Chris, or Chantel are gonna look at the script and just go, "No, we ain't doing this." And that's actually
Rejection. How do we all live with it? Eh?
pretty much. It's well, it's challenging though because it makes me want to put out better. That's kind of
Mm.
what. That's why, like I said, we haven't even begun the tracking directing sessions for episode 2 yet because I'm not happy with the script yet.
It,
That's just how it works.
it's always best to avoid putting out a crappy piece of art.
We owe it to people. Well, I owe it to people, and I owe it to you guys to make sure that what I put out will be it's what's going to best showcase your voices, your styles, your cadence, as you put it. And
Oh,
that's actually given me a lot to work with. And you've actually given me a lot to work with when it comes down to the narrator. You're about to be in for a challenge.
I like big syllable words.
Oh, I was
Well,
thinking I'm going to make
I know you.
a ringer with tongue twisters for a while.
I know you and I had talked, I guess a few months ago, it was our first chat, about how easy it is for at least voice actors that have this in mind, how easy it is to be attracted to a good script, let alone one that they get. You know, they get the humor, they get the drama, they
Yeah.
they get the passion. All that stuff is really cool. But as soon as you that really special thing of as soon as you can match the right or sorry, the right enough attitudes of people to work on a project that really are going to benefit the project. It put in that extra effort, well, lots of different extra efforts, whether it's extra time, whether it's extra attention, extra energy, extra promotion help.
Oh, now that right
and,
there.
and so the result is from that, I've always seen when you match the right group of people to the right project, everybody feeds off of each other. They all
Yeah.
inspire each other,
It's
and something extra comes of it.
it's truly humbling. It when I write this stuff out and then people go, "Hey, I want in on this." It really is. It's humbling, and
Yep.
I don't know. I have an ego about me, but this right here, they'll have other people sit there and say, "Hey, I like this. I want in on it." I mean, um, we got some more. We got like for episode 2, just the people that just who are wanting in is just phenomenal. I mean, honestly, I've it's been probably one of the most humbling experiences I've ever had in my life.
Projects attract good people. It's as simple as that. It's my lesson for the day.
Well, I mean, it could, like I said, that's probably why I've been. That's not probably why. That's why I've been holding off on episode 2 because I want to make sure that it's good enough for you guys. I owe it to you to make sure that I give you guys something that will actually, not give you a Razzie or something.
That kind of respect and consideration, at least from somewhat responsible grown-up voice actors, if all that's not a contradiction in terms, that's the attitude voice actors should have when they do their work, because they want to not just please the creators and producers and directors, but hopefully go beyond what they were expecting, to put in their best and not let the producers and directors and writers down. It goes both ways that way, and that's core to what makes a really, really good collaboration team.
Now, here's the funny part about it is only a small handful of people are going to listen to this podcast, and it's chock full of wisdom and gems. Hi, Mom! Oh, wait.
I'll get my mom and dad to hear it too if I can convince my father how to
Dude,
how to use a browser to start with.
when episode 1 first came out, man, I was I admit I'm still doing it too because I'm still going around like all my family and they'll go on their Facebooks like, here, check this out. We did this, and probably the most funniest, well, kind of funniest thing that happened with that is that most of my family actually like it, and my dad being hard nosed Southern American, basically, he's pretty much like the Hank to my Bobby, if you will. And
Yeah, yeah.
literally growing up, I'd always hear the boy ain't right. I tell you what. And my dad actually said, "Hey, this is actually pretty funny." And it's like, well,
I love those kind of comments.
and like the part of me that always was desperately seeking my father's approval, love me, daddy, was just
Go
shining
figure,
that day. But
yeah.
other part of me is like, yeah, of course it's funny. I wrote it. Duh.
Exactly. Had a wonderful, a wonderfully naive comment left somewhere a couple months ago. Yeah, I won't mention the website. a video guy, a YouTuber,
Mhm.
basically, that I did a couple of voices for just a small 4 or 5 minute video of
Oh,
something. Uh, Went back to a website and left a testimonial, and he closed off the testimonial with, I actually work with this guy again.
I think you're about
And
the
I
only one that's
laughed.
ever gave me a glowing testimonial.
Oh, I laughed so hard at that I cried. I'd actually work with him again. Oh man.
Well, it was you left me a good left me an awesome testimonial recommendation on Casting Call, and I was
Meant
glowing
every
about
word.
that. That put me that put me over top in a good mood. But then I remembered you were Canadian,
What does that mean?
and
What does
oh
that mean?
oh, always friendly.
Want me to verbally flip you off? Is that like I got a vocabulary?
I'm pretty sure. You probably know more words than I do.
Just establishmentarianism.
Hey, that's actually pretty funny because a buddy of mine put some on Facebook that was like, only in BDMSM does no mean yes. Yes means harder, and the safe word is pineapple. And I put down there my safe word is anti-establishmentarianism.
Oh, there you go.
And they're just and buddy's like, you're trying to kill somebody. I'm like, no, I just like playing on a higher difficulty.
If the worst thing anybody can ever say about me, or one of the worst, is that he could be a nice guy. Oh, okay. Call it
It's,
being full of hate.
I would rather the world be full of nice guys, to be honest with you. We already get enough people out there who just make us want to rip our hair out. I mean,
Indeed, indeed.
it's but there is one thing I do have to talk to you about, and it's mostly because I am a Bethesda fanboy. And having said that, I'm about to mention Fallout Miami.
Hmm?
All right,
All right.
now unfortunately, I won't have access to Fallout Miami because I'm a console peasant. I play on the PS4. But for
Ah,
everybody else, though, who has played it or caught wind of the project, what can you tell them without spoiling the whole story?
at this point, because it's still months off, there's not a lot I have picked up about the entire storyline. Frankly, it's not entirely written yet. Uh, but mainly too because my role in that project is part of the audio team, and if I could just mention specifically what it is, because I love nerding out on audio stuff. My main role is doing the audio dialogue line cutting and treatment. That sounds like a mouthful, but what it is basically all the dialogue for the entire movie has to be treated, and that is checked for things like too much distortion, a very high noise floor, and that is it was recorded in too noisy of an atmosphere, and I don't mean room reverberation, none of that stuff. And then a certain amount of audio compression, de-essing, high pass filtering is applied to each and every recorded line by all the voice actors, so that, and then all of them are compared to each other for relative equal volumes, so that the final result for the game is none of the voices are too loud or too quiet, none of them are too boomy, too far away sounding, their s's aren't too sharp, they don't
Wow.
get too quiet, they don't get too
The
quiet, they don't get too loud, all those things. I take care of all that stuff. Cool
ah,
thing. The really cool thing for those nerds that want to hear about any of this, and I know I'm wasting your time, but I love this part. The game, the mod is being created with Bethesda's Creation Kit software,
oh,
and in order for the game to have very accurate closed captioning, all the audio files are synced up to an automatic closed captioning feature that this creation kit software uses, and it uses voice recognition software to turn the voice dialogue lines into closed captioning.
Hmm.
Nobody has to sit there and type in all the words and then sync them up with the voices.
Well,
Well, there's a character limit to that automation system. It
I'm
has to be
honestly not
less than
surprised.
140 characters, so I also have to pay attention to
Wait, wait, wait,
to
wait, wait. These things are literally half the size of tweets.
I know exactly. In order for Creation Kit to use its automated closed captioning system correctly, all the dialogue lines have to be cut up to sentences up to 140 characters and then a period,
Yes.
or or
Oh,
less.
so
So
that
it could
actually
it
explains a
could
lot.
it's
Well,
it's bizarre.
in the vanilla version, it's the same thing because I remember like the longest either Nate and Nora would ever say it couldn't have been no more than 140 characters because you're right on that.
I
Because
don't know how old Creation Kit is,
oh,
or
dude, are
how
we talking about the Gek? I mean, like that thing's been around since Fallout 3.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm still relatively new to that software, and I've only looked over someone's shoulder using it.
It's it's kind of unfortunately at this point, but it's great for Fallout 4 because of what they're doing with it. But the creation engine itself, though, is actually rendered itself obsolete, from what I
Mm,
understand, with
yeah,
Fallout 76.
yeah,
And in order
yeah.
to, and I don't want to like piss off any fanboys on that one, but Bethesda could have done better.
There does seem to be a general equal opinion about that.
And
But
it's
yeah,
that part.
generally speaking, the Miami mod, I'd say it's at or maybe above half done now.
Well, what I want to know is
Certainly,
though, is it going to continue Nate and Nora's adventure, or is it going to be a whole different setup? Like, is it going to be its own opening, shutting, and all closing, and all that?
it it's going to, as best I understand, it's going to be fully comprehensible, yeah, uh, as its own storyline.
Okay,
But there will be some characters that would be either based on and or exact carry forwards, as it were.
right.
But yeah, it will be its own plot line and climax and everything for those that want to play the whole storyline. There is going to be a huge, obviously, maybe, a huge pile of new settings, new characters, new animals. Oh Lord, new baddies. Just
Well,
what they're coming up with, it looks really impressive to me.
this
And of
mod
course,
has actually caught wind by several YouTubers. Like, that's how come one of the reasons why I knew about it is because I think it's one of the YouTubers. I don't remember which one it was, but they were actually talking about it, and they actually said it's what Bethesda should have tried with Fallout 4.
there does seem to be some reaction to that. Uh, Someone had asked me a couple weeks ago, "How big is the team?" And I have no idea. If it's around 50 people, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, something like so that kind of endeavor, I mean, it would take a few people. I mean, at
Oh
least,
yes.
God, I don't even know. Like, I'm just putting out audio dramas, and so far, I mean, like it's pretty much it takes like a small A team just to even get that out.
it's it might be the largest, certainly game mod I will ever be involved in.
Um,
Every chance I can, I try to I try to dig into what specific parts of the entire team are now developing or talking about, because we do use some web platforms to discuss and develop this on.
Hmm.
It just stuns me more and more. And it stuns me in the most impressive way possible how detailed some of these people get with their work and their intelligence and their commitment. It,
It's love, man.
yeah, it really is. There's just a few days ago, in fact, there was an update video posted on the Fallout Miami YouTube channel to edit the dialogue in that.
We'll be posting the link to that down below as well.
Having played a little bit of that, and I think I still have Fallout 3. Come to think of it, I'll have to dig that out.
Dude, Fallout 3. Oh.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
That's the only time it's ever acceptable to say Liam Neeson is my daddy. Oh, you know that they had to do something. Like I don't know how much Bethesda paid to get him in there, but he was amazing in that as that role.
Yeah, I think he took that. Let's hire famous people and hope it works out. He took that to a new level. I mean, I totally get why entertainment companies, when it comes to games or animated works, why they hire famous people. They want the name as much as anything else because they're selling product. It's as simple as that.
Though, Rockstar actually knocked that off after it was I think it was either it was San Andreas. When Samuel L. Jackson, he was voicing Officer Tenpenny. And Rockstar it was after that though, Rockstar realized that people weren't paying for the game because they wanted to hear CJ and learn his story. They were playing because they wanted to kill Samuel L. Jackson. And so it was after
the guy that lipped off on the plane.
Yeah. The guy who basically made the word motherfucker a home word. Like a word that
really?
Everybody says. Like that's a brand now. And I'm surprised it's not copywritten by him yet. It's actually kind of funny. Actually the reason why he says that is because he has a stuttering problem. And he says it to keep himself from stuttering.
Yeah, I only heard that for the first time about him maybe a year or two ago. He had a really bad stutter problem when he was a young boy.
Yeah, and that was actually his anchor word, which is kind of weird, but I mean, whatever works, right? But
whatever works, right?
That's why it's the most famous voice actor they have in GTA 5, or Rockstar has in GTA 5, is Danny Tamborelli, the guy from The Adventures of Pete and Pete back in the 90s.
Hmm?
Yeah, there's your little knowledge, kids.
There's your Samuel L. Jackson tidbit for the day.
Let's see. I don't really think they got anybody famous really to play in Red Dead 2. Although, if you ever, I would. Oh God, dude, I'd rather play single player than I would online on that one just because of the story.
Got to pick it up. I played the hell out of the original Red Dead.
You'll love it. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you'll love it. Harden your heart.
Hard.
That's all I'm going to tell you on that one. But before we leave, because we're kind of hitting like the 40-minute mark here. But before we leave, though, I do want to talk to you about Western Space Odyssey.
Yep.
Mostly, what the hell? What was I watching?
What was I watching? Well, you were watching a private link to start with. Yeah, it's an old school styled animated full length feature film, virtually entirely made by one guy. The quick backstory to it is back in high school a while ago, some friends and I were regularly recording original music or skits and comedy and all kinds of other things because none of us were interested in, drunken idiots and getting a local girl pregnant and getting stuck in small town. I do mean small town. I mean like 250 people.
How dare you see beyond the horizon?
And one of the goofy things we made up on the spot one night was a bit of a Western twist satire on Star Trek. I don't know, maybe 10 minutes of something just off the top of our heads, and we all got a kick out of it, but not hardly any of it made a, a long-term impact on us, especially compared to other original material that we had written and recorded, both songs and comedy skits and things. So we that was forgotten for like 25 years or something. And then back in 2015, one of these friends who had since moved from Ontario down to Vermont and been Americanized for probably 20 years, he was down there and out of touch with the rest of us. I got back in touch with him back in 2015, and then one of the first things he said was, "So do you remember that skit we?" Yeah, I remember. He said, "Well, I've written it up and expanded on it, and I'm making it into an animated film, and I'm calling it Western Space Odyssey, and it's a much broader satire of both Western movies and science fiction movies and TV shows." I went, okay. And then the first question he asked me, if do you want to be part of it? Because I'd love to have your voice for one of the Starship team members who's a man goat.
That's just bad.
So needless to say, that was the end of 2015, and 4 years later, we're probably about 90% done with it now.
Oh, I didn't know I was viewing it on a private link.
You're special.
Well, to be fair though, you might not want to make it so public because all I had to do was just type in Jef Leeson and there it was.
Yeah. Well, again, that's my the friend I'm talking about. His name is Rick Barrier,
Mm.
and Rick is also a published author. He's a huge train fanatic and the most intelligent, creative, and positive people I have ever met in my life, and that was one of the reasons why I befriended him so quickly back in high school. And put into Western Space Odyssey, and then the amount of open-mindedness he has allowed and offered, I don't know, the 12 or 15 other people that are involved in it for voice actors and the composer and the soundtrack composer. And oh Lord, I mean, he has basically assembled by accident a team of people who are all extremely anxious and willing to donate whatever they can. And Rick has said yes to like 99% of it all. The soundtrack is really impressive. It's a composer in Ottawa who his name is Doug Summers, and Doug is one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And the guy is he's absolutely brilliant. He's got his own SoundCloud, a work here or two every once in a while. Nothing this guy can't compose as far as styles and I mean, he's done dance music, he's done chip music, he's done country and western music. He works with orchestral stuff all the time. He's done soft pop songs and gotten other people to sing them. This guy can write anything, and he's so good at it all. Anyway, I could do a whole show on that.
Well, I mean, it does look like you got your hands in a lot of projects. What will be the next most recent thing that we'll have coming out from you?
What's the next most?
Hmm?
Sorry, did you ask me what's the next big thing?
What's the next thing we're going to be hearing from Jef Leeson?
Me directly?
Um, Directly, indirectly. I mean,
Well, I'll just mention one of each, maybe. I'm hoping to find there more personal time to finish up a new album for myself. It's going to be an all a cappella album of early Canadian pop and rock songs. Songs. Yeah, that's another pet project of mine. And as far as anything to do with audio editing or mixing or voice acting and what have you, I'm probably 85, 90% done putting together the second episode of a BioShock audio drama, created and produced by Preston Harden.
Hmm.
Will be about an hour and 40 minutes long.
Wow.
And it's a very unique project in that it's a fan-made, approximately an hour and 40-minute long audio drama based on characters from the original BioShock.
Oh, well.
Because
Are we talking about the first BioShock? Because if I recall correctly, there was one of them that didn't have the main character from it. I can't remember the name, so it's been forever.
and this episode is called BioShock After Midnight. There's been some 2 or 3 clips now put up on Preston's YouTube channel. And I have absolutely been having a blast putting this together for everything that it takes to the main catch. And I think you'll get a kick out of this. The main style of this particular series is 1930s through 1950s old school radio American dramas.
We're making a comeback.
Yeah.
We're making a comeback, man.
Indeed. And it's dark.
Oh.
It's dark. It's if I may say, I a couple weeks ago I put together a death scene getting strangled in a bathtub. And lo and behold, there weren't spoken lines in the script. So I suggested to Preston, listen, the script says a lady is humming to herself while she's having a nice relaxing bath. Would you mind if one of my family members did a bit of humming and then put in some screeches and screams? And he said yes. And then I realized, oh, now I have to listen to the sounds of my daughter being drowned in a bathtub.
Oh my god. The things we do for entertainment.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. Anyway, that's enough about me.
Well, actually, let's hear a little bit more about you. Just a little bit, though. So we're going to be using Make Time to play us out tonight. And I was just wondering, is there anything you could tell us about that song?
Other than the obvious, it's hopefully a poppy, catchy way of saying, "Honey, for you, you're my everything. I would stop the world to make time for you, anytime, anywhere."
Were you in trouble with your wife when you wrote it?
No, it's probably the catchiest, easiest, most energetic song on that album, and it was just a song that stuck with me. I must have started writing it maybe 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Just left it in the back of my little lyric book, and I made a demo back in my analog recording days, and I always liked it.
Oh. Well, all right. Well, so this is Jef Leeson's Make Time. Be sure to check out the links down below and show this man some love. This has been Bobby
Thank you,
Samples,
everybody.
and you were in the ditch.
I'm not the type to go to extremes, but I can do that. Once in a while I pull a big surprise out of my hat. I finally found what I was meant to do. And darling, when it comes to loving you, honey, I would make time. honey, I would make time.